this meeting for SocialBites. This is the 18th of August, and we are going over what we were supposed to do last time, which was to review the model, the visuals, the tasks, stories, and the next steps. So I'll let you tell me what you have, Nelly, based on how we agreed we need to go or what we need to do. What do you have?
Okay, I came up with the logo. I also came up with the tagline.
Mm-hmm.
I also have my mental model, my user stories and my personas.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have started working on the wireflows, the low fidelity wireframes,
Are
on
you
the
able?
scenario diagrams.
All right. Are you able to present so that we can review?
Yes, I'm able to present.
All right.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, I can see. Sure.
Okay. Just a minute. It will show. I'm trying to share this tab.
Okay. I could see now it's gone.
Let me share it as a PDF.
Okay.
I'm trying to share this PDF on the entire screen. I don't know why I'm getting
Are you
challenges.
are you using the PDF reader, or which?
No, I've opened it on Chrome.
Okay. Do you have a PDF reader on your computer?
Yes, I have it.
Okay. Open PDF reader and then open that file through PDF reader.
Okay.
Uh, Now here to maximize the screen, you press Control L, it will focus. Now here, if you press Control L, it will now,
Yeah.
it will now project this page, Control L, and then Control plus, and you can zoom. So Control L, and then Control plus, Control plus, Control plus, like that.
So control.
Control L.
How many times am I pressing Control L?
No, it's only once. It should then maximize the screen. Have you done it and it's not working?
Yes, it's not working.
I see. Okay, well, I can see it anyway, so we can still work with it the way it is.
So this is my logo. I decided to come up with this icon, which shows the community
Mm-hmm.
and also the word social bites. So
Right.
the icon and the word forms the logo.
Okay.
And then my tagline is discover, dine, and share.
Mm-hmm.
Why I came up with this tagline? Um,
Mm-hmm.
we want our target audience, who
Yeah.
is the Gen Zs and the millennials, to discover new restaurants in Dortmund. We also want them to dine in those restaurants, and we want them to share their experiences after engaging with the restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
We want them to share the experiences by liking, sharing, and commenting on their social media posts.
Mm-hmm.
So that's for the logo and the tagline.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went for the minimalistic design where the white will be the background color. The white will create a sense of space and cleanliness, allowing other elements to stand out. Then the black will be used for the text and the icons. And the orange, which is a vibrant color, is attractive, appealing to a younger audience. Then the energetic color encourages the use to take action, making it ideal for important features. So that those are my brand colors.
Mm-hmm.
Then then social bites. Why we came up with social bites? The restaurants in Dortmund have been relying on foot traffic and word of mouth to attract customers. This traditional approach limits restaurants' growth and the ability to spread to a wider audience, especially in this digital age. So to solve this problem, we are introducing Social Bites, an online platform that changes how restaurants connect with their customers. Social Bites aims to use social media platforms such as WhatsApp, Twitter, Gmail, Snapchat, Instagram to attract new customers into restaurants. The platform facilitates on-demand restaurant bookings, food delivery, and community engagement within the Dortmund neighborhood. Our target audience includes the millennials and the Gen Zs who are tech-savvy, active online, and are in the working population.
Mm-hmm.
My next slide, we have a mental model. Our mental model basically helps users visualize how they think, their needs, and how they will interact with a system or a platform. The mental model for Social Bites includes how the restaurant managers, the workers, and customers interact with and expect the application to function. Our mental model has three categories: the goals and motivations, our user stories, and our scenario diagrams. So, number one, for the restaurant manager, their goals and motivations include to increase online visibility and attract new customers, to manage social media presence effectively, to monitor and analyze engagement metrics, and to respond to comments in real time. Then, for the customers, their goals include placing food orders and making reservations through social bites, to discover new dining experiences by browsing restaurants and filtering online, by staying updated on restaurant promotions and events by liking, sharing, and commenting on posts, and to engage with restaurants on social media. Then the mental model for the restaurant workers, their goals include to receive notifications about new orders, confirming clients' orders, and coordinating with the assigned delivery driver to dispatch orders. Then we have the user stories for our primary customers. Our primary customers for Social Bites include the restaurant owners and the customers. So for the customers, as a customer, I want to easily place an order through Social Bites so that I can get my food delivered to my location in good time. As a customer, I want to interact with restaurants on their social media posts so that I can engage with their content and feel more connected to the brand. As a customer, I want to rate restaurants and leave reviews so that I can share my experiences and help other customers make informed decisions. The user stories for restaurant owners. As a restaurant manager, I want to create posts for social media so that I can maintain regular engagement with our audience. As a restaurant manager, I want to create time-sensitive promotions and offers so that I can attract more customers during special events. As a restaurant manager, I want to receive notifications and respond to customers' comments in real time so that I can engage with our audience promptly and build stronger customer relationships. Those are my user stories for now. Then for the personas, I have for the customer only. I'm still working for the restaurant owners. So we have Lena Muller. She's 24 years of age and she's a student. Her goals include to discover new dining experiences in Dortmund. She wants to engage with restaurants on social media by liking, sharing, and commenting on posts. Her frustrations, inconsistent information across different platforms, and lack of timely updates and promotions. Then her needs include easy access to restaurant details and menus, real-time updates on events and promotions, and ability to interact with restaurants through social media. Then I had started working on the wireframes, the low-fidelity wireframes, though they are not complete. This is where I am.
Okay. Yeah, so at least I've seen you've started the work, which is good. Now, there's some things I'll comment. I think it's good, at least it's in the right direction. So this is positive. Another positive is that at least you're capturing the definition and scope of work, because you've covered the client side, the customer side, and you could also say the big idea. So you've got to capture those. So that's important. I see you're also starting to talk about the customer's persona, which is the user, the audience, target audience. That's important. But I need to come to the business element because this is a client. We have to do things that generate income. From a client's perspective, while you've captured things, this is not going to win us the presentation if we're shortlisted. If the client says, I'm looking at 10 people, then they shortlist to 3. Will we make the shortlist? And even if there are 3, will we be given the job? You see, that's the kind of thing I'm asking. The answer is that clients go by emotional appeal themselves. I mean, for us, our customer is the client, and we need the clients to respond positively to our presentation. So we need them to respond in a way that they'll give us the work. To get them to do that, we need to appeal to them emotionally. Okay, so that's what I would say is key for us to get this job. Now, some of the things which I see, which I think can be improved, and if you improve them, then we have a better chance, is that logo. You see, a logo is an identity. Let me share my screen so I can show you.
Okay.
Yeah. You let me know if you can see. You can see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay. So what you showed us as a logo looked very much like an icon. Icons are somehow universal or general. When someone looks at an icon, they know exactly what you're representing there. That's the job of an icon. It's supposed to be like a sign, a directional sign for clicking through different features. So when you see an icon or the logo like what you represented there, which looks like an icon, people will know that's for social like interactivity. So icons are supposed to be generic. They're supposed to be interpreted by everybody the same way. They're supposed to be universal in the sense that they don't have unique IDs. They don't need explanation. They should be instantly recognizable most of the time, and most people should interpret them the same way. That's an icon. So what you've shown as a logo is an icon. A logo is different. In fact, while it's a symbol, just like an icon is a symbol, a logo, as we know, is supposed to show a unique ID, like to give us a sense of the character, and you can say um, it should give us a sense of the persona of the organization or the business, so that we kind of get a feeling of the kind of business we're dealing with. Not necessarily what they do, but how they feel about their customers, how they feel about themselves, how they feel about the environment within which they operate. That's what we should get from a logo. It's very contextual, number one. Number two, it's very personal, or you can say specific to the organization. And number three is very unique. It's not like others, so that it stands out. So those kind of things make it different from an icon. So what I've put on the screen is just examples of logos, and logos are not divorced. The symbol itself is not divorced from the logo type. SocialBites in writing represents the logo type, and also the symbol represents the logo, right? So it has a visual component and a written component. So you see, these different organizations have done them in different ways. If you look at this first one here, you can see the symbol that they have used, and they're trying to make it, of course, unique. To me, it looks unique for sure. It has its color schemes and everything, so that gives it a sense of, you can say, character, because it has that. And then at the same time, it has, you can say, a representation that tries to suggest its mood, the feeling behind the logo. It's an S, but the S is playful. It's also loosely done in a way that's artistic. Maybe they're artistic, right? Then they write SocialBites. So again, this writing of the SocialBites has to be clear and readable. Readability is not a debate. It has to be, even if you write it freehand, it has to be readable. So SocialBites is the way they're writing it. That's their logo type. So it has a logo type and it has a logo, you can say, a symbol. So this is acceptable because it's got those qualities. It's not an icon. And even this one, you could argue, is the same, which has SocialBites written in a unique way. That's the logo type. And then Food Hub. Food Hub maybe is the name of the thing. But we have this one, SocialBites. You can see the speech bubble, which gives it its unique ID in the use case, in this case here. That's how they're using it. But here it is. So you can check it out on this one. That's how they want to represent it. It's unique. It's still readable, SocialBites. It's busy, but that's maybe how they think. Maybe that's the environment within which they operate. So I'm trying to show you just how logos must be unique. They must represent the target market in the sense that the target market will find the logo relevant to them, speaking to them. It should be like that. And then here you have another one. You see SocialBites, and you can see the logo type is very straightforward. That would suggest that the audience that is consuming this logo type would like and expect SocialBites to be written in this straightforward way. And then you have that logo, which is quite unique in the way it's represented, right? So the symbol of the logo is what's unique in this one, but the logo type is not unique. Here's another one, right? So what really I'm trying to encourage is for you to have something special. The client will not feel inclined to go with us if they don't feel that what we're putting in front of them has a unique logo type and a unique symbol. If they don't feel as if the logo type in itself and also the symbol represents them in some way. So it's unique, it's special, and at the same time, it's different. It's different is the same as it's unique. It's not the same as the others. All right? It should be like that. And then it should have a context. So it should be contextual. In other words, it should feel German, let's say, because it's coming out of Dortmund, so it should feel German. And if there's other things like it's to do with food, like this one has a food context, this one, you know, not all of them have, but you need to have something that's persuasive to the, let's say, client, so that they can see the logic that makes the logo relevant and work emotionally. And you work with emotions. If it's straight writing and straight symbolic representation like an icon, then they'll not feel that they should pay. These things cost a lot of money. They cost a lot of money, Nelly. For example, just to design a logo identity for clients costs about 3 million shillings. But why would they pay 3 million shillings? You see, you've got to have a compelling story, and that story has to then, of course, reflect in all the other things that follow through. But it starts with an emotional appeal. The stronger your emotional appeal at first, the less you have to explain going forward. But you obviously have to explain. But once the emotions are strong in the beginning for what you're putting in front of the client, then when you're explaining it, you'll find that they're coming from a positive mindset. Sometimes, if you put something that's written just straightforwardly, like the way you wrote it, and then you show something that's an icon, then they have a negative view of it. So when you're explaining, they're coming from a negative mindset when they're looking at what you're explaining, and then you get a very different reaction from them. All right. So you want to try to be emotive about it and try to get them on your side. Um, yeah. So there are several here. So anyway, I'm just using these as examples. Okay. The other thing I want to talk about then is your mental model. You have to draw it. There are several ways of visualizing a mental model. Let me show you some. The mental model is a diagram, although it comes with the explanations that you've given, but they work together. So you need a diagram to support your explanations. Yeah. So this guy, and these diagrams, they have different ways on which people do them. This one is done this way. This is a mental model of Chinese customers, Italian customers in a restaurant, and it's not very clear. Yeah, it's not very clear, this one. Let me see. Try to see if this is clear. Seems clearer. So everything you were saying about the three parts, so the mental model is like a framework. It visualizes the framework of the business. So everything you're saying needs to be represented diagrammatically. So this is how this person decided to represent theirs, because then they can show the different parts of what they want to show. Okay, yours need not be represented this way. But you can see why this is working for him, because he's got these boxes where he's putting in the thematic areas. He's even got this, you can see he's divided his page into a quadrant. And then he has boxes, and then he has little boxes within that. Like in your case, you have three parts. You have the customer, all right? That's the end user. Then you have the restaurant. So the restaurant is you can say, they're the business owner, all right? But then you have stakeholders, and stakeholders might be, let's say, you know, the companies that provide services around SocialBites. So it might be the dispatching service, the delivery service. It might be the payment service, right? So you want to capture these in your mental model, the ones that matter to make the solution complete. So you want to capture the owner of the app who has a role. They're the admins. They're the ones who also respond to anything that's initiated by the client. The client is the end customer, so the customer initiates. Okay, but even for them to initiate, there has to be some marketing going on. So again, there's a second role there for the owner of the business to market to them. What do they market? They market their different menus. So you have two roles. You have the marketing to the owner, and then to the customer, and you have the responding to the customer's orders. All right, and then you have the stakeholders who are doing deliveries and receiving payments. Now you want to represent that diagrammatically. That's what you want, and to be able to explain how things are flowing using arrows. That's the mental model. It's just trying to show the different structural elements of the design that we're doing and how they connect to each other. So if you have the client, let's say the customer, the restaurant owner, and then you have two stakeholders. All right, you can connect them, and they need not be connected, let's say, in series. It's not a sequence diagram, but you want to connect them to show more like a use case diagram. But it's not a use case because this one is showing the entire business. It's a big picture use case, if you want, big picture. So you want to show that the restaurant is connected to the customer directly. And since the restaurant is made up of a marketing section and it's also made up of customer service, it's also made up of, you can say, receiving orders section. So it has three sections. Each section is connected to the customer, at least the marketing, customer service, or customer care, and the, you can say, order section, you know, whatever you'd call that, is connected to the customer. Then the customer is connected to the restaurant through social media. So there's an element of social media in between. So the customer in marketing connects to social media. The client, the customer, that's the customer, sorry. The restaurant owner is connected to social media. So these two are connected to social media. They want to show them connected to social media. And then you also want to show, and this kind of represents what I'm saying in a way, because you can see the different, let's say, segments. Let's say these would be the three sections we're talking, or three types of entities. One is the business, one is the customer, one is the stakeholders. They're connected, let's say, to social media, but not all of them are connected to social media. Let's say only two of them, that's the customer and the restaurant owner, and they meet there. Now, of course, that's where they agree that you have to move to our website. So you want to move to another section, a website. You see? Now, so social media is represented in the mental model, the website is represented in the mental model. So once you move to the website, it's a connection in the website between the customer and the restaurant owner. They meet there. Okay. Now, from the website, the there would be an arrow going from the, let's say, you have to divide your website. The website would have, let's say, a section of, let's say, display of menus. Okay, so let's talk of display. And then it'll have a section of ordering. So the display of menus would be connected directly to social media. But the section of ordering will be connected to now the restaurant, but it will be connected to the restaurant. It'll be connected to the restaurant's, let's say, ordering section. Let me draw this for you so that we can be on the same page on this. Just want to show you. And you can use Excalibur because it's easy to do these things using software like Excalibur. Just delete some of these. Okay, so if we're doing, let's say, a mental model, this here. So what we're saying is that if we have three entities, let's say 1, 2, 3, okay, but we're saying that the restaurant itself has three parts. So let's just do 1, 2, 3. Each part, I can give a name. For example, I can give this one a name as marketing. All right. Now, marketing in itself can have two parts. It can have, let's say, a part here which it's easier for me to do it maybe this way. It can have a part here which is, let's say, dealing with customer service. I'll move these in. So one part of marketing is customer service. And then another part of marketing, I would say then is, let's just say sales, right? So these sales are the ones who deal with, let's say, social media directly, okay? I'll put this next to it here. Okay, so once you have that, move it down slightly. Then we have the customer. No, the second part of the company. The second part of the company here, for example, might be dealing with orders. That's not a good name for it. We can always think of a better name. And then this part of the company might be dealing with, let's say, one takes orders. Let me just say procurement, because they have to procure services. Okay, so that's the company. Now, in the graphic representation of this, I would want to encapsulate the company this way. So that's the company, and I can push this to the back. And maybe pick a color like, let's say, pink. Okay, but it's to the back. So that's the company, and then of course, sorry, we can call it. You have to label these things, of course. So I'll give this a name, restaurant. So it's made up of these components. Now mine is very rough, just to demonstrate. I don't expect you to do it, but you see it has to be structurally correct. And then of course you go from there. Now the next one would be, let's say, the customer. Customer can be this object, which is fine. Let's keep it here. And we have the services. Services, we said there are two. So we'll keep one here, two. These services come from stakeholders. And so I'll just duplicate this here. And I'll call this stake. Okay. Or I could have called them services. It's also acceptable. But the services are two. We're saying we have payment, and we have deliveries. Okay. And this middle one, this one, is what we're calling the customer, according to the personas. Now, if you have others, it's fine. Now, this is a mental model, so it's not really trying to be a use case diagram. Use case diagram is like a mental model, but in detail. This one is big picture of the whole thing. Okay. So what are we saying? We're saying we have, let's say, social media here. So that's social media. Then we're saying we have the website out here. Website might be better represented by this. So website has one component, two components, like that. Okay. Now, we're saying that the customer is connected to social media. The business is connected to social media, but the part that's connected to social media in the business is sales. So I draw an arrow from sales this way. And then we're saying social media will take customers to the website here. And we're saying that from the website, customers will be rerouted back to orders here, like that. So that's a filtering process. So customers can be many, but they're filtered in social media. And that's the purpose of the programs or the campaign that's run on social media. And then from there, when they're filtered, you're talking of serious customers that would actually place orders. They subscribe over here. And then when they are, when they see the display that's on offer, they make choices. And when they make choices, they have the possibility of placing orders. And when they place orders, they come to the ordering section within the restaurant. And then from the restaurant, we have what we're calling the order has been placed. So the restaurant orders will be connected to, let's say, this one will be connected to payments. All right, so let's connect this to payments here. Okay, we may have to move this out just for the sake of arranging it well. So you see, the design challenge is having a visual component. You have to be a designer about this. So let's say a graphic designer also, so that you create something that works in the way that a client can see that this makes some sense. It's understandable because it's represented well. So you have to represent your work professionally. So I'm just giving you a sense of how to do it, and then you do it in a professional way so that it looks like something understandable, quite easy to understand. Right? So that now goes to payments, and then from payments would come deliveries, and the delivery is made directly to the customer. So let me put the customer out here. I could then put this under here and move this above there. Stakeholders, just put it aside this way. And we can now connect deliveries, can be connected to this. And we can argue that when payments are done, you see there's a two-way connection. When this is done, this is known by procurement. And then procurement is going to now place an order out to deliveries. So this might be better off out here. So I put this like so. And then I have deliveries here. So this is how you design, so that you come out with a diagram that at least looks understandable to the client. You can explain this to the client. So that's the flow. And this part of the website, so we had two parts. We had the display part. So let's just label this so that it's clear. These are stakeholders. So I would call this, let's say, display. Of course, menus, promos. Menus come with pricing, so it's all that. Let's make it small, no medium. Okay, so keep this here. And then this part of the website is to do with checking out. Yeah, so it's interesting, but this is the company's website. So orders come, and at what point do they pay? I think it could be that from here, they check out. Okay, you can move this further down. I'll do it again. So from here, they check out, but there is a registration process. So let's just draw registration here so that we capture that. When they come in, they're given the option of registering. But that registration offer happens to people who are visitors. So you've got to be a visitor first. The whole thing is for people who visited. Then you can be a registered user, right? So this is registered users. And we can name it as such. So let me just call this registered users. Or I should call it registration, right? Yeah. So I'll just call it registration, like that. So this is registration. Make it big enough this way. This one is for the display of that. This is to check out. Okay. And then from this checking out is when things go now back to the company. So this is not going to be here. This one will be here. The order goes to the company once you've checked. Well, you have to pay first. So you go from here to payment. From payment then to orders. So we need an arrow to orders. Like that. Okay. Yeah. So it gets messy. You have to sort it out so that it's clear and you can explain it without issues. Sometimes you have to break it down further so that it's not so crowded. But this is a mental model. This is what we mean by a mental model. It shows everything, big picture, and it's labeled. It shows everything is labeled. It shows the different boxes that you're talking about, the entities, the clients. Well, in this case, the restaurants, the customers, the actors, like social media becomes an actor. So let's just write here social media. And this one we're saying is for checking out. Yeah, it's checking out. I've got it here. This one. So this is the website. So let me put here website. But before I do that, for the sake of color coding, I'm going to represent this in blue here, and then represent the website in this color here. I need to send it to the back, and then represent it in this color here. So that's the website. Now, I might argue that it's a good idea for me to move everything down slightly. Sorry, like this. So I want this. And this. So I want to move this down here so that I can write website here. All right. So that's how you build your mental model. And this is actually a low fidelity diagram. It's not high res or anything, but it's doing the purpose, which is really to give it a structure that we can explain. It's crowded here, so you may want to think of how to re-represent that so it's not crowded. Here, the rest of it's not really crowded. It's just a matter of the way we draw it. But just here, it might look a bit busy for people. But you want to describe it in a way that looks easy for someone who's just looking at it and studying it to understand what's going on. Okay. I like the idea that customers are at the center of this because it's diagrammatically saying that we're service or customer centered. And it's always nice to say that. Customers like it when a business is putting them at the center of what they do. So, and businesses don't mind that. They want the customers to be happy. All right. So, yeah, so it has a bit of a customer centered focus. So, use a Scali draw if you have to. I think this way you end up with something that is driven, and this now lends itself to a scenario diagram because from here we can now draw a scenario diagram. I can shift gear and say that I need scenarios for different activities. For example, if I was to look at the activities here, there's a sales activity. That's scenario one, where we evoke marketing to customers through social media. There's a registration component, display component. That's where marketing ends. Because once people are browsing, and let's say they place orders, the moment they start checking out and placing orders, then you could say, yeah, okay, that ends marketing. It's a kind of sensitization. But marketing also has that's a sales function. It also has a customer service function. Customer service is after sales service. So once, let's say, you've dispatched the goods and that customer is finished, then customer service starts. It might even start before that because a customer might complain about the service. So maybe customer service starts during deliveries. And then once the sale is done, customer service takes over as after sales service. So what would that look like? That's number 2 as a scenario. So you have 2 scenarios. And then a third scenario is the one for orders. Very important to the business, to the app. So you want to capture a scenario for orders. And that scenario for orders might be combined with the scenario for procurement, procurement of services. And the services you're procuring is payment services and delivery services. So maybe you want to capture these in one scenario. So orders, procurement with deliveries and payment. Okay, so that comes out of the mental model. So you have marketing has 2 components, and then you have orders and procurement. Yeah, if you're going to, like now, the way we are talking, you see, it's evolving. We're being creatives, but that's how creatives think. So I could make an argument that let's just move these 2 guys into their own box over here. Sorry, maybe I pick this one, put it here, so that they have their own box, which I will label. Okay. So if I'll use a selection window to select all of them, bring it down this way. And just as I've done there, I will create also a box for marketing here. So we have 2 boxes like that. Okay. And that makes up the restaurant. So now we're getting a kind of structure, which is what we want, of how this mental model should look. Let's put this out here. Put the restaurant up here. And then pull this one out here. So now this is my restaurant window. This is my, I'll give this a name. I'll use a selection window for this, like this. Bring it further down. Yeah, so this orders and procurement, I don't know, but sometimes you can Google these things. You can just type here restaurants, orders, and I want one word for them. So let's see. Synonyms, what do you call orders? Counter server, yeah. So let me just call it counter server. Why not? So here I have counter server, this one. Okay. This can go up. This can, it's a heading, can also go up. And then I bring everything down. Nice amount. Like that. So that's how you build it. That's how you build it. And then you have to think the way I'm thinking, because you see, there's an aspect of design, interactive media design, that's logical. And you have to be able to build these structural logical diagrams the way I've done, using just logic. It's not about art in this case, or visual aesthetics, but it's good if you can think visually at the same time so that you can explain yourself visually, because we're visual people. So you need to understand the software enough to be able to do a demonstration the way I'm doing it, to show what it is that you're trying to explain. You have to think, sometimes it's not enough. This is too crowded for a normal client, especially here, it's too crowded. So you have to break it up, maybe into 3 scenarios. Yeah, I was thinking, yeah, maybe 2 scenarios. So 2 scenarios might do it. And if you can, great. But for the mental model, it's fine. Once you put this in PowerPoint, you can have slides that reveal what you want to reveal. That's the way to do it. You show, if I invite you for a meeting with this client, I'll take this same thing and break it now into slides. So I'll have like maybe 6 slides to show one at a time how things are unfolding so that the client can understand. That's how we do it. And once they understand this one, then we can show them the whole diagram. Then they'll be fine. See? Okay. So that's how you do this. Now, let's just quickly look at the other thing which you're doing, which is the let me just open this. I'll open another window. This one. Yeah. Okay. So you're doing scenarios. So you want to start with your scenario box. So let me just draw my scenario box. Let's say the scenario box we're working with is marketing. Maybe that's the best one to start with. So we'll call this the marketing scenario. And I'll just get my text here, right here. Marketing. We call it. Labeling is very important in all these things to connect things. So I'll call this scenario number 1. Marketing. All right. I'll pull this out this. Oh, sorry, not this way. Okay. Put this here. All right. So marketing, we can see, has customer service, sales. It has all this. It also has all this. And it has this, this, this. Yeah. Check out. Yeah. Marketing. Well, sales. It has a sales. Sales has payments. So yes, I'm picking this payments. It has placement of orders. That's how you measure sales. So that's fine. I'll just pick this orders here. It has that. Okay. So I go back. I paste this here. Okay. So it's too big. Let me enlarge this one. Like so. Okay. And this one, I'll go here, extra large, like that. So I've isolated marketing. So this becomes my scenario 1. Now remember, scenario diagrams, how we do them. We don't do them this way. We do them in a way where we say, okay, this is my system here. And I need to get my different elements. Let me remove this a bit. Let's move this sideways. Yeah, and then I will just scroll. Zen mode. Just scroll this way. Okay. All right. So I need to make sure I have my library for my different things. Now I don't have, so I'm going to browse. You have to know how to get your library for this software. So I want a library for high fidelity, low fidelity, but is it high? Hi-fi. Let's see. I have to scroll down. UX wireframes, these ones, basic. Maybe this one. Let me add this to Excalibur, I think. Oh, it's not. It's not the one I wanted. Let me try again. UX. Universal. Oh, this is UML. Yeah. This one. ER diagrams and shapes. Yeah, this looks like the one. So let me add this to Excalibur. This one. Okay. So now that I have this library, I can get my characters. So who are your actors? Now we have the customer as an actor, so I put him there. Just need to move him this way. So let's have the actor here. You want to have your restaurant as an actor here, so I put him here. Now, depending on your personas, you might have more than one. This is a generalized character, this one, this actor, but you might have more than one persona. You have to think about it. But the restaurant also may have more than one persona because you have the marketing people and you have the orders people, the ones who deal with orders. So how you deal with generalizations is that in the restaurant, I have two actors. I have this actor. Let me put this one out here. And this actor here. These are two different types of actors within the restaurant. Okay, how you represent them again is up to you because you're creative. You're not trying to focus on artistic things. You're just trying to make things clear to audiences so that they understand what you're talking about. So, for example, I might decide, let me just put these in a box so that it's clear. These are different actors. Let's put them out this way, like so. And how you represent generalization is using arrows like this. So you take an arrow, a line like so, another line like this, like that, and then another one like this, and another one like this. Okay? And again, just to soften things in terms of representation, I'll just pick this, remove the stroke, stroke style, stroke background, stroke width. I remove it. Stroke, pasting, it's gone. But background, take this one. Because the paste is gone.
On the library, the Excalibur libraries.
Excalibur libraries, this one on the left.
I'm not seeing the drawing.
Yes, again, maybe. Okay, I just put something. I wanted a faint kind of thing. You're saying, how do I get rid of this outline? You know how to get rid of the outline? Oh, it's not, it's just light. Okay, fair enough. Anyway, it's just that I wanted to group these ones visually. So now you can see that we have this one. And you can name them. In fact, always name them. So in this case, we're saying this one is the, like here. We're saying that this first one is the restaurant. Like that. Okay. But maybe it is pasty now can be full. But this is now what we're referring to as this one. I make it small. Medium. Okay. Okay. Medium. So this is the restaurant. And then of course you want to name these ones. So this one you would call, let's say, the marketing or marketer. And then this one you would call the, let's say, we call him the waiter. The one who receives orders. So the restaurant's represented by these two. Now, mine is rough. Yours will obviously be done in a way that looks much more presentable. Should be presentable to the client. Even the reading should not be so small you can't read it. Now, there's an actor here. This is the customer. So if you have more than one persona, you do the same thing. You split it up. Otherwise, I'll just call this the customer. And I'm assuming there's only one persona, but you might have more. You need to think because this is critical to the design of the app at this point. Okay, so this is the system now. Now, the restaurant is on the other side. This is the other thing. It's not on this side. The restaurant in these diagrams is on this side. Okay, I just deselect this. Let me move it first. I just move this aside. And then I take this one here. Put it here. So that's on this side. And of course, this whole thing, this one, it's better if it is on the right side here. I have to select this one. Okay. It's better if it is here. Then I just move this one here. This way. And then this one here. That way. Moving on. Okay, so now this is our actors for the restaurant. And they're on this side, so which is fine. We have other actors on this side, the service providers. So let's just put them out. I'll just duplicate this. We have two. Well, it's better I duplicate than these two. So I have service providers are two. The first one is the one receiving payment. So this is payment. Payment. This one is called the deliveries. Yes, so courier, like this. And these are service providers. So okay. In this case, I think I'll put it in 2 lines just to fit like that. So that's good because that captures our two stakeholders on this side. So the customer now is on the left, and if you have personas for this customer, you can break it up. But for now, I'm doing this. So now your activities come in the middle, and in this case, we're looking at activities for marketing, and we're saying marketing has this activity of, you can say, the social media accounts are set up in advance, so it's not part of the big idea. So the first thing is that we should have an object for social media, we should have an object for the website, and we should have objects for big objects. One is here, this one is, what was it again? The stakeholders, okay? Service providers, this one. So an object for the services themselves, and then an object for orders within the company. So we need 1, 2, 3, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 objects. So these objects in a scenario diagram can be represented by this. So 1, the social media one doesn't have to be big, so let's keep it small. There's this one, which has objects inside it. So let me just make it a bit bigger. The one for services also has objects inside it. And then, of course, the one for the orders. The orders is small. It's only the orders, that's all. So Yeah, we've tried to simplify because we can't fit everything here on like in the mental model, so we try to keep it small. Okay, so we label. Labeling is very important, so let me label this one, social media. I'll use caps for this. Okay. Then you want to label this one as the website. You want to label this one as the services. And you want to label this one as the orders. What name are we using here? Counter server. Okay. Counter server. Where orders are taken. Okay, now inside here, this one, we have some other, in the website, we have registration, we have display, and we have checkout. Okay, so checkout is important just to confirm what people are playing. Again, you label these things. In services, we have payment and we have dispatch, and then checkout is just there by itself. It's only one. So that's it, you see. Now you can connect these things, but you have to label. I'm just not labeling mine, but you label yours. So this one is connected to this. Social media. Again, the customer is taken to the website. They go as visitors, but then they log in, and then there are three stages of the customer. One is a visitor is anonymous, but once they log in, they become known customers. But they're not customers; they're just known subscribers because they have subscribed. They only become customers when they check out. But before they check out, they must view. So they have to. You need to get them to be interested in something. So they have to view. So this is the display. And they become customers when they check out. So there are three states. You have to capture the three states. So the anonymous customer, you see, when they're here in social media, they're almost like prospective customers because they're not yet even there. But once they come to the website, they're still prospective, but they are unknown. And when they register, they're closer, but they're actually in a state of, you could say, interested in what we're doing. But those are the ones who are displaying. Seriously, they registered, but at the same time they're displaying. Even just a visitor can still see the display. The moment they check out, that is, they're making a payment, they're ready to make payment, they become a customer. That's the point at which now you're very interested in them because they've reached this point. So from here, they'll be taken to the services. The first one maybe is payment, so it's this one. Just put this aside. And once they make the payment, it goes to the counter server where the order is now processed. And then from there, they call the second service, which is the courier service. And then the courier service is connected to the customer here. So, okay. And you can break it and bend it like this. Okay. Yeah. And as a designer, you can work this in many ways. So you can also decide that you're going to move this out this way and then have, yeah, there are many ways. So one way is to just make this go straight out here and this go straight out here. And then you can use this line to connect them back to base like this. Okay, so now You just have to think logically. This is not a beautiful diagram. It's just the beauty. Well, let's say it's beautiful, but it's the beauty is in the logic, not in the visuals. And if the logic is flowing and working from an interaction point of view, then we say it's beautiful because you've solved the problem in a very neat and logical way. Okay, so something like that. Okay, so it gives you a sense. Even this one, yeah, it's fine. All right, so this now is your scenario diagram number one. And then you label everything. So that's good. Don't know if I left out anything, but you can always check by going and seeing on this. Yeah, I got those registration. Yeah, social media is there. So yeah, so that's it. That's it. I've not broken down the social media because it's all the same in some ways. So this is important. All right. Now in the app, we're going to have a feature for generating social media content, and this is an important aspect that the client needs to know. Okay. Then we're going to have a web app that has these three functionalities for the registration, display, and checking out. All right. It has even some calculator in there so that based on choices, it's calculating how much the client needs to pay. And then within the system, we're going to have now this service is connected using an API. We'll agree on which one. Okay, so it's not, this is nothing to do with us. But then the counter. So once information comes from the service provider that, let's say, item number 24 was paid for, that information comes here. Information on that item will come from our own system directly here. So even in some ways, maybe we should also say information has to flow also here. Okay, so it comes in as much as you see the payment system will only require two pieces of information. What's the name of the person and what's the payment details, like let's say the visa details. They only need that to transact. But for us, we need to know what the order is. So whatever you send here, you send here so that they can connect on the app these two things. So when information comes that payment is confirmed, it will say for this person, and that will be combined here, right? So it happens at the counter server. So once that's known, then that's positive. An order has been made, it's been paid for, and now we can proceed to do what has to be done. So this is done offline, but once it's done, then this one is evoked, this one, that calls the courier, right? And once the courier delivers to the client, then again, from the courier service, there'll be confirmation coming. Where should it go? Yeah, we had something on marketing sales. Maybe confirmation goes to sales. Let's just say it does, because the next person is customer service. So the actor is customer service. So this one connects to customer service. This one, yeah. It connects to marketing. Yeah, it connects to marketing, which we can do this way, and then do this way, and then do this way. Okay. Yeah, so that way they will know that it's been delivered. And once they know it's delivered, then of course it is the customer service that will take over to deal with the client. So we need something for customer service here, which is missing. You see, that's why this drawing is kind of important, because that aspect is important for return visits, return sales to your own clients. So let's just push this up slightly. Yeah, like this. So what I'd like is to have this this one, make it a bit smaller. But this one is purely we're calling it customer customer service, like this. Yeah, medium size. Okay, so from here, marketing will now know that it has to go here to this one. Customer service, and that's connected to the client. So I'll extend this like this. Yeah, it might even be the other way around because the customer service will be calling the client. Sometimes the client is calling the customer service also. So yeah, that can also be the other way around. So that's it. That's now the whole thing. Now you have to do this for all three scenarios. This is just scenario one, but from what we are discussing, scenario one is marketing. Scenario two is to do with let's go back. We had said there's a scenario on checking out to show how the checkout works, but have we captured it here? I think we've captured it here somehow. Because, but you have to think of it in details. There's a scenario here for registration, registration, how it works. There could be a scenario here for checking out. No, I think that's not detailed, no. But then ordering, procurement. Yeah, we have this procurement. I left it out, orders. But that's all in the checkout counter. So okay, it's fine. That's a detail. Maybe we will skip it. We don't have to stick to that if it doesn't work. Yeah, so maybe you can have a scenario just for registration. And if you think of anything else, which maybe we've left out, you can always add that. The idea is to capture the app because this will tell us exactly what the big idea is. This is focused only on the big idea. There are many things. Even registration is not so much part of the big idea, but it's a question the client can ask. At what point they may not see that there are three steps or three types of clients. There's the anonymous client, there's the registered client, and then there's the customer. And these are three different states of the same person. See, so what the registration, let's say, scenario would do is show the three different states of the client. And that is important for the client to understand, the customer to understand, because our client to understand, because it's not like anyone in social media is your client. They are potentially, but they're not customers until they start paying. So the question is, how do you convert a prospecting client to a customer? And there are three steps to go through. You see, the first step is to be an anonymous visitor. It's a step because you have people in social media who will not even visit your website. So how do you make them visit? So that's a question. And then once they visited your website, they can go. So how do you make them stay? And then if someone has stayed as an anonymous visitor, how do you make them become a known visitor? Which means how do they register? You see, so that's why a scenario for that would focus it and force us to think of a strategy to make this happen. And once they now register, they've not placed orders. So how do you get them to place orders? Using the different things like menus, which are written well and displayed nicely, and at the same time using this other thing we're calling promos which are coming from the restaurant. So how do you use all these things to make them now place an order? When they place an order, they become customers. And then the last part, which is customer service here, is how do you market to an existing customer? You see, now sales are marketing through social media to unknown people. But once they're known to us, they become existing. It's no longer, it's a specialized sales function. And it's these customer service people who are marketing to them. So how do they now convert them to become what we're calling return customers? So that could be a fourth state where we have now fourth return customers. So we need a scenario diagram for, let's say, this is marketing, but we could call this customer acquisition, something like that. And this is scenario 2. So scenario 1 captures all these, which is nice. And number 2 shows us how we acquire the customer, which is at the heart of the big idea. So it has these two components. And this, instead of calling it marketing, now let's just call it the scenario 1 is the, let's say, SocialBites service, like that. Maybe I haven't thought of a better name, but now you need to develop this other one. All right. So if you can design that, that is good. Of course, now I don't need this, which I was using on the side here. I can delete this. But if you can design that, then we have both. Now, based on these activities, we see these ones become, these yellow circles become our activities, but the blue ones, these ones in the middle, inside, become our tasks. There may be no tasks in some of these others because like social media is generic. So whatever you do in Instagram, you're doing in TikTok, so it's fine. So we don't need to have tasks in there. But our user stories become 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5. So this is, sorry, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those are 8 user stories that we require, you see, with acceptance criteria. Some of them will be broken up. Like you see, when you're coming to the website, this first part is registration, right? So registration has its, what you can say is registration and login. It has those two user stories, but you'll combine them using acceptance criteria. And then browsing the menus depends on the restaurant, but you have to think about it. If they have, let's say, different menus, one for breakfast, one for lunch, one for dinner, okay, that might be one structure. Another one might be that they have different types of dishes, like they have Taiwanese, Chinese. We need to think about that when we're writing our user story, because this is the design of the app. So giving some flexibility would be make it more powerful, more in line with what restaurants are doing. Okay. Some people might say, okay, so as we don't have Chinese, Taiwanese, we're all Chinese, but we have different categories of Chinese for dinner, and we have different types of Chinese for breakfast. See, so give categorization. So this can be good to think about. And then when they check out, that's just checking out. But checking out simply collects everything that they have selected with the price, adds on, for example, gets them to fill in a form, because when they're checking out, we have to know where they are. How do you want us to deliver this to you? Where? So they need to give us information like that. So we've captured some information in their registration, but now definitely we need to know where you are. So they'll give us that. Maybe other information as well, like your number, your email address, stuff like that. Yeah, so email address simply completes things like verification. Like instead of sending an SMS, we can send an email to the client that, for example, for tracking purposes, we can send an email to say that your order is ready and it will be delivered by a certain time. That could be one way. Another way is to send an SMS for that. So we ask for their details here, so we have all that. All right, so that's what this does. And this can be captured in a user story. It has to be precise. This is what we need to capture, because developers need to know exactly what are we actually doing. So that user story is speaking to the developer. And then from there, now the information that goes to the services, like the payment service, will be given out. Right. So this is the payment service. It usually just needs your name, your visa details. There are like 3 details, but it needs that, and then we'll give them a customer ID. The customer ID is generated by this system, which is unique, and that customer ID is shared with this counter, because on the system, once you have that ID, we have all your details. So now they'll know what your order is here using your customer ID. But that will be sent also to these payment people, so that when they send back the payment information, it's tied to the customer ID. Right? So that's important in the user story. And then once this is processed, you simply place an order for the people who do the bikes, the courier service. Again, they just need information on who are we sending it to, what's the drop-off point, what's the pickup point. So the pickup point is the restaurant, the drop-off point is the customer. So we have captured that here, the pickup point we've known. So we give that to these delivery people, and they come pick it up, drop it off. They get paid by the restaurant. They get paid by the restaurant. But the restaurant has collected the money at this point when it was paid here. Okay, so all that has to be coordinated and captured in the user stories so that it's clear now how the app is rolling. And this is the core. This is the core. But this customer acquisition is important because of scaling. You have to be able to scale scenario number 2. So this kind of shows how it happens in a scalable model. And it's clear that the restaurant is doing its own marketing. So they have to, it's a discussion. They have to think of how are we going to do this sales. Okay, Nelly. So I hope that's kind of clear. If you have questions, feel free to ask me anything. Are you there, Nelly? Maybe you're speaking. I can't hear.
Yes, it's clear. I'll just go through the scenario diagrams
All right.
again.
Okay. And then you publish that properly. Now, another thing about your presentation which you need to think about is to be visual. So you have information, which is important, but like your personas, you need to visualize them and then represent them visually so that we can see. You had only one persona, but you need to think it through. Are we treating male and female personas the same? Maybe we do, because this is just eating, and men and women, there's no difference in that sense. But do some research, try and find out who would be the logical personas for a restaurant that is using social media to come in, to attract them. I mean, for example, if it's Gen Z, Gen Z, generally have their own money in Germany. They have their own money, so they can make their own purchases and orders. So you can target them. But if you're doing Gen Alpha, so Gen Alpha is from 0 to 12, maybe their mothers are making the decision, something like that. So suddenly you have a different persona there, because while the you can say the target is the generation Alpha, the customer is generation X or generation millennial. It could be that generation that's your customer. So because they have to pay, that means the strategy on marketing to the mothers is different from what it would be for the Gen Z, because mothers don't, like, they might be interested in health issues. They're trying to make decisions around what will I be buying for my kids. So you need to capture these two personas, Gen Z and the millennials. And the millennials may buy for themselves, but if they're buying for Gen Alpha, and that's what you're saying, because we're trying to bring them on. That means, you see, if you're using it as a strategy for marketing, your marketing is going to Gen Alpha, they influence your customer. So you have stuff that is interesting to young children, like 9-year-olds, who will say, yeah, I like this. That's important to know because you're targeting them. But they influence the parent. So the mother says, oh, what's that? You like it? Okay. So they want you to buy some food. Let's see. So they go and check. But the mother is checking different things. Is this healthy? Is this the stuff that they should be eating medically and all this? She knows information about the children. So she makes a decision based on how she sees the information coming to her. So the restaurant has to speak to Gen Alpha and speak to Gen Millennium, so that the millennial can make a decision on behalf of Gen Alpha. The real customer is the millennial. The millennial is the one who is paying. So that's the one who has to be persuaded that, yes, we need to do this. So if you're doing that, then you have to include these in your personas. You have to keep the primary personas will be the millennial and Gen X. They become primary. But Gen Alpha becomes secondary, influencing the decision of, let's say, the millennial. In that scenario, you see, there might be other scenarios, but let's capture them because they're highly we're trying to show the restaurant that we're going to get you people who don't come, but these people are online. You might find mothers are online. I mean, but they're working, they're single moms. So they don't mind doing an online order because that's convenient. So those are the kind of people we're talking about. So let's do it so that we can show the restaurants that this is a good thing. It's going to really target new people. Okay, if you can think of anyone else, also you can add. All right. Okay, so what I need from you is something more visual so that we can go to the client. And if you can reach the user stories, great. But I do need you now to focus on your app as well. So by Thursday, you see. So let me just show you. You see here, this is your chart as for your internship. You see, week 1 was understanding the scope of work. So you should fill that out. That we've done. Client's brief, all these things. Week 2 was brand identity. So you've done, you showed me your color schemes, you showed me your logo type, you showed me your uh, slogan, marketing, competitor analysis. Yeah. So yeah, we discussed these things. This is your persona, the target audience definition. You need to create a persona profile that's complete. This one's not complete, what you showed. It has to have demographic information, which is stuff about, let's say, the age range, you can talk of the generation, but the age range. You need to talk about the primary personas, the secondary personas. Um, there's no gender difference, or so we're working with age range. We're working maybe with socioeconomic information because you need to know, are these people working? Is your persona working? So if it's generation alpha, since they're influencing, they're not. But the primary is working. That's millennial. But millennial is the age range for millennial is from 29 years old to 43 years old. So that's the age range, all right? And so you have to know that that's who you're targeting. So capture that in your persona. Um, what kind of jobs do they have? What are their interests, their preferences? If they're mothers, then what are their interests in relation to what we're doing? Well, they're interested in health. They're interested in, let's say, food that would be, let's say, good for their children. They don't want drinks like alcohol, so they're interested in maybe again certain types of drinks. You see, so you have to capture the interests in relation to what we're doing here. So you capture that. And then Generation Z might be interested in alcohol. They might be interested in, let's say, junk because they're spending it themselves. So you're segmenting these two. They're not the same. Okay, so think like that. But maybe you have to do some research. Maybe in Dortmund or in Germany, the Generation Z are also health conscious. So they're not so interested in junk. I don't know. But you need to just do some homework on that so that you can have the personas worked out properly. Okay, then you come to this one, designing the visual identity, which you did, the logo, the color palette. Yeah, you need a palette so that we can have a professional palette to show the color scheme. And you were talking about it, which is good. So you have maintained that. Typography, you have to talk about that typography and iconography. So the iconography informs the app. Okay. Generally speaking, it's not trying to be unique. It's trying to be, you can say, uh, a scheme. It's meant to be a scheme that is related. So your buttons, your uh, sliders, your scroll bars, your, let's say, uh, text field boxes, things like those. They're all part of a theme that is unified. So this is what the iconography does. And then a brand style guide creation. You need to create that, a style guide. You can do that. So just do it so that we have it in terms of just graphic design. Then you come to your wireframes, and that's where you had reached. So here, conducting a user research. Yeah, so these are the surveys. Yeah, we need to create this survey for our client. This one on Google, let's say Google Forms. You can write not many questions. People don't like to be surveyed, so 10 questions is fine, 7 questions even. But think of the questions you need to ask. Now, these questions for the survey, should be seeking to find out how the client can help to improve on our big idea. Our big idea is trying to maximize on sales. We want to get as many of our customers using it, not people who are prospecting customers so much. No, the survey is really targeting our customers first. So people who are actually registered users in our system are ready to become customers. So this survey should be really speaking to those kind of people. But it would be nice to know how to convert, let's say, anonymous visitors to our website into you can say registered users. So we can have questions that also tell us how to do that. And it will also not be a bad idea to know how to get people in social media who are prospecting, who can become anonymous visitors to our website. You see, so this survey is not random. It's trying to align itself to our interest or our client's interest to get people to become customers. Okay, that's what we need to do. And you're not asking many questions. You're asking like 10 questions. The first two can be, okay, your email address, your name. It can be that. But the only reason, in fact, we don't really need their name. We also don't really need their email address. We don't really need it. It can be there, but we don't really need it. What we need is your age because of our demographic. We have to tie it into our personas. We need to know your age. We need to know if you're a mom or you're a student or you're, do you have children, for example? We need to know this to be helpful. So it depends on your personas, but that kind of information comes out of the survey. So very early, you're asking that question, and then you move on now to ask questions that relate to how do we convert someone in social media who is interested in food. It's not everybody in social media that you're talking to. It's people who are interested in food. The ones who are liking, commenting on what you're showing and putting out, those ones, we need to ask them, so how can we convert you from liking the content I'm putting here about food? How can I convert you to make you visit our website, become someone who visits our website? At least we have an anonymous visitor. You see, that's the question you want to ask. Then you want to ask, when they come to the website, how can I make you register in our website? And then you want to ask, once you're registered in our website, how can I convert you so that you become someone who makes an order? Right? So you have to think of your questions in that way. And people don't like being surveyed, so you have to ask like 2 questions for each. So you have to think deeply about it and then come up with the questions you're asking. Right? So develop a survey. And then here you have user persona creation. Yeah, that was something I thought we had done earlier. Target audience definition. Okay, so the target audience definition is not your persona profile. Persona profile is coming out here, this one. But here you have to have a sense of who they are, just a sense, we talk about it. But here's where it becomes visual. Yeah. Usability testing. So this we'll give to our client. Once you're done, we'll give to our client to test. We train the client, and then we analyze the data when it comes. Okay. So this is important. And then we move to this one. Where was I? Yeah, then we move to developing the wireframes. So low fidelity. So low fidelity is what I'm showing you here. These are low fidelity wireframes. Let me go back. This one. This is low fidelity. You see, psychologically, and you have to understand the psychology of design, Nelly, that when you put a rough drawing like this double line treatment here, you see, when it looks rough, the client treats it differently. They know it's changing. It's just rough. It's not final. If I start coloring this now with solid colors, borders, and it doesn't look rough, then the client reacts with it differently. So I don't want them to react. The first thing we're putting out in terms of this wireframe is a low fidelity diagram, which means all the drawings are loose. It's telling the client all the time that this is changeable, it's flexible, you can change things. That's what we want to say to the client. And that's why it's low fidelity. It's here, this one. Okay. Then once we are done and the client makes comments, gives us feedback based on the sketches we're showing. Those are your scenario diagrams and your mental model. Once they've commented on it, because they'll comment, we can do more roughs, or we can step up and show them medium fidelity. Medium fidelity or even high fidelity if you want, is now leading towards the final prototype. Okay, so I've left it out here, but from the low fidelity sketches, we move to the medium fidelity. Now, medium fidelity is once they have given us feedback, so we're quite sure that they're agreeing with us. Then we can afford to do that. It takes more time. And then after that, we need prototyping. So you need to produce next week your medium fidelity, or let's just say your low fidelity at least. But we need to show the client some sort of prototype. Yeah. So even if you produced medium fidelity based on your low fidelity, it's okay. But if you don't, it's also okay. I won't insist. As long as you have the low fidelity, it's fine. But come to now the prototyping so that we can have a rough prototype for them to click through to convince them that this is real. And again, we have a bit of feedback that will come, but this feedback will come from our clients. Our clients, the one who's going to now, not some users, they're going to come back and give us some feedback on this. But they'll have surveyed their users, and then they'll give us feedback on this. Okay, so that's important, and that's your week 3 of your internship. You see, so I need you to work to catch up. Then comes now this scenarios, very important. So you know about scenarios. We've gone through it. Contextual analysis is important. Contextual analysis simply means that you have to include your target audience. They have to be considered within your drawings. You also have to consider within your drawings the the activities and the tasks. So those give context. And then this scenario validation and review. But scenario validation is to do with the acceptance criteria. So that comes in here. Okay. And your user stories come out here. This mapping business is really that your user story maps onto your tasks, right? Prioritization means that you have to sequence them. You see, like we're not doing a sequence diagram, but you have to know that you have 2 scenarios. Marketing comes first, then comes the core side of it, and you separate them. So one is 1, one is 2. That's prioritization, and you now show us the use case drawings or diagrams, and you show us the user stories, which combine the user story. It's a user storyline, which combines the user story with the acceptance criteria for each one. And that's a mapping exercise because you're aligning it with the task. So you have the task, you have the user story number 1, user story number 2, connected to acceptance criteria number 1, acceptance criteria number 2, acceptance criteria number 3. So that's a storyline. Okay. So once you do that, you organize it well so we can see it for the big idea. Very important for the big idea, even for marketing. So have that so that we can analyze it and see that it's okay. And then we now move to the prototyping. So I don't know how your time is and how you can work and everything, but we want you to come as far as you can to the building of prototypes. In a normal flow of events, you would not do this high fidelity prototype creation without the client giving us feedback on what you had done earlier, because they may have ideas. They may even change the name, SocialBites. They might even change that name. Okay, but you definitely need to reach week number 4. You need to reach the end of week number 4 by Thursday. Okay, and you see from your own point of view, because you can't be examined until you've done 8 weeks of work. And you've been here for more than 8 weeks now, more than 4 weeks. These are 4 weeks only. But you've been with me for more than that. So you have to play catch up. The work doesn't reflect how long you've been here. And so this is what I would like. If I look here on the calendar, next Thursday is going to be 22nd. Okay. You should have finished week number 4. So I can tell you on the 22nd, by 29th, try and finish week number 5 and look at all this that's needed. You need your prototype, you need your interaction diagrams. You need both sets of work, you see. So, but that's by week 29, sorry. So if by week 29 that is done, then you're on week 5. And then we move on to week 6, where the testing can be done. We need to run and we need to analyze the results and we need to redesign. The redesign is a big job because all this stuff we're doing, we haven't shared with the client. The moment we share with the client, so many changes will start coming. And once they're coming, especially if the client goes to the field, even more changes will come. So this redesign is a big job. Even to say we can do it in 1 week is not assured. It may take 2 weeks. All right. So we need to get to that. And I'd like us to get to that by the 5th. That's week 6. You still can't be examined by the 5th. You have to get into week 7 and week 8. Then you can be examined. But you see, by week 8 here, you're putting up your cloud. You see, that's what you're doing. So try as much as you can. You see, I can't make you work harder than what's possible for you. You know your situation and you know what you have to do. You know your timing. But I need you to understand the reason why I took time to create for you this work outline is so that you can use it. You can see what's coming and what needs to be done. It is on week 8 that you get examined. Now, there's no crisis. If you see, the way I know the university is that it's at the end of September. They're going to ask for your marks at the end. You see, they'll even ask before, but I can tell them, no, you're not ready. So the examination will be done for assessing this by end of September. They'll say it's okay because they have not yet started processing for graduation. But by end of September, they start. So you need to have reached week 8 definitely by the end of September. Why do you want to wait till the last minute? I don't know. If you start doing that, then you run the risk of being left out. You see, because you're dealing with other human beings. And if this thing is coming too late, they'll just leave it out. Or it'll become some crisis for you. You see. So best is if by 5th of September, or even let's just add on one more week, by 12th of September, you've done 8 weeks in terms of work. It can't be 8 weeks of hanging around the office. It's not that. It's 8 weeks of work that will pre-qualify you because that's what you're writing into the journal. All right. So put in the stuff that you're doing. Try to regularize it so that it's ideal if it matches the calendar. But if it doesn't, it's fine. You can just write in whatever you've done based on the weeks that you've done it to reflect. But it's not coming to the office to hang around. It's coming to the office to produce 8 weeks of work. And then you examine on that. That one I can speak to, and also the assessors will accept. Okay. So I ideally by 5th you've reached week 8, but let's not pass 12th. Okay, 12th of September to finish up to week 8. So plan your time, prioritize this work, and then we're okay. All right, so that would end it. But you talk to me now. Tell me if you have questions or anything that you need me to go over for you. Anything that you might want. I don't hear you. Are you there? You still, I can't hear you still.
No question for now.
No question for now. Okay. So let's then work on it. Try to see if by this coming week you can finish those scenarios and use case diagrams up to user stories. It'd be very good. Because then after that, we can now look at the high fidelity diagrams and your prototype. I would want after next week on Thursday to share this with the client so that the client can weigh in. And when they weigh in, changes will come. But think of your logo. Your logo as it is now is just unacceptable. They will not. They will tell me many things, and I don't want them to just tell me that. So make your logo unique. Think about it a bit more, and then the name. You see, if you do it well, by the way, they'll accept the name. This name, it's a startup, so they can change it. If they feel, oh, maybe the name is not the right thing, they'll change it. But they'll give you a nightmare if they keep changing the name. So you want to produce something impressive, and then they say, yeah, we like the way this looks and feels. They'll go with it. Okay. So this is how these early days are. So try as much as you can to, based on what we've discussed, have this ready by Thursday. We meet in the evening, and then after that, I'll make a meeting with the client. All right. Okay. So that's it. I'll stop the recording then, Nelly.